Okay, right, here we go. That was our rehearsal. Unbelievable. Right, definitely recording. Okay.
Take two.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of our Kitchen Design podcast, where each week we ask a different industry expert lots of questions and find out all about them and the company they work for or what they do within the kitchen industry. And I'm joined, as always, by my co-director, Danny.
Hi, guys.
And this week we've got a very special guest from, I should say what we're actually talking about this week is boiling hot water taps. And from the UK's leading brand, Quooker, we have Louie Basso, who's an expert on boiling taps, amongst lots of other things. So, hello, Louie.
And he's a very good rep.
I was just about to say, like to think that we're an expert in boiling water taps. But yeah, thanks for having me, and really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, so Louie looks after our account with Quooker, and it's a brand that we're right behind. We sell a cooker boiling tap with most of our kitchens, actually. So, we're going to be talking all about boil taps, and obviously not just boiling taps. Cooker taps do a lot more than just boil water these days. Tell us a bit about yourself, Louie, and a little bit about Quooker.
Yeah, so thanks for the introduction, guys. As I say, pleasure to be here. Funny you say that, Andy. I know that we're kind of the original boiling water tap, but actually we are now kind of the tap that does it all. It's the most incredible product. It's the most incredible kind of company to be a part of. I've been at Quooker for just over 3.5 years now, and my kind of introduction into the kitchen industry was working for Quooker. But I think what made the transition over from what I was doing previously into this industry so easy was the fact that I was actually a consumer of the Quooker brand and the Quooker product before I actually worked for them. So I've had a Quooker at home for 8 or 9 years now, and because I've had it at home, I realize how fundamental it is to the way that people live, how central it is to the way that you live. The fact that once you have it, you simply cannot live without it. Having that at home made me really appreciate that fact. So when I came over to Quooker,
they must have loved you in your interview then.
That's it. Yeah. Honestly, this is the thing, and this is why we always kind of want anybody that works in the industry, any of our accounts, to have them at home, because it really does instill the passion that we have for the company and for the product. Because as I say, it is the most incredible product. I think when I initially joined, it was really, really easy to join, as I'm sure you can hear from the passion that I've got speaking about the product. But Quooker's been going for, it's coming up to over 50 years now. People think that because we're still such a really, really new or new-ish product within the UK market that, we've actually only just started. But actually that the history of the product goes back to the 1970s. So we've had kind of 50, 60 years now of growth. We're selling 14 or 15 countries around the world now, mainly obviously based in Europe. In the UK, we brought here in kind of 2005, 2006. And I think with us being, as British people, a big tea and coffee drinking culture, big cooking culture, people kind of took to the concept of an instant boiling water tap pretty much straight away. And it has taken us kind of 15, 16 years of incremental growth year on year to kind of get to the point where we're at now. I mean, we are, as I say, the market leader for so many reasons, mainly obviously based on the product itself. There's so many USPs from the product, but also everything else that we kind of do for our dealers, the support that we give, and the way that we operate separates us from a lot of other, not just hot tap companies, but actually a lot of other suppliers in the industry. And as I say, we are really, really fortunate to kind of work for a company that has that, because it is an easy product to sell. People recognize it, people know it, people want it. We're really, really lucky. Really lucky.
Well, what we love as a kitchen company is specialists. So we deal a lot with we've got Bora, who just make extraction hobs. We've got Louie Basso, who just do refrigeration. And there are companies that have been making taps for years that have thought, well, these boiling taps are getting a bit popular. Let's start making those, but they just don't get it right. Whereas a company, when a company concentrates on one thing, they get it right, and that's certainly what Quooker have done. And now they've become synonymous with a boiling tap. People come in and ask for a Quooker tap when they just mean a boiling tap, but that's the name that they know.
That's it. I think when you're kind of talking about experts, you made a couple of good points there. When you talk about kind of experts, I mean, before Quooker in the 1970s, there was literally no other hot tap, period. We have literally created the concept of an instant boiling water tap. It's actually quite a nice story. Back in the 70s, the guy that created Quooker, Henry Patery, was actually heading up research and development at Unilever, and he was creating the product instant soup. So, like cup of soup and pot noodles and those kind of things. He was basically creating that product. And through his R&D in that process, he realized that instant soup was never going to be instant, because he always had to wait for the kettle to boil, always had to wait for a pan of water to boil. And it was basically the need for instant boiling water that led to the creation of Quooker and led to the creation of the boiling water tap. So as we kind of said, this is the DNA of Quooker. This is all that we do. And we were the first. So that, I think, is fundamental. But as the acceptance of kind of boiling water taps generally have obviously become more wide across the world, it's really allowed us to grow within that. And I think one thing that, again, separates Quooker from a lot of other hot taps, a lot of other appliance manufacturers, is kind of the investment in the advertising that we do. So, we spend a lot of money year on year to basically educate the customer, to raise brand awareness, to ensure that people know the Quooker brand. And what that does is it sends people into our dealers, it sends people into the showroom, as you kind of say, not asking for a boiling tap, they're asking for a Quooker. It's so similar with, like, the Hoover, for example, or the Biro. Hoover is the brand name, it's actually a vacuum cleaner. But because of the strength of the brand, the recognition and the awareness, people call it a Hoover. And that's kind of where Quooker is. So as the boiling water tap industry grows even more, the fact that we are becoming synonymous with the boiling water tap is incredible. And as I say, I think it just really shows that where the recognition and awareness of Quooker is at the moment.
And Quooker, the only tap that delivers 100 degrees hot water?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is the most fundamental USP of Quooker. And again, I think that kind of stems from what we've already been talking about. The fact that we were the first people to create the boiling water tap allowed us to basically take out legal patents over the technology that allows us to do that. I mean, just to kind of delve into that ever so slightly, our tanks basically store water under pressure, actually at 110 degrees. And because it's a pressurized environment inside the tank, the water actually isn't boiling inside that tank, it's boiling at the point of delivery. It's a strange concept in that it's cooling down from 110 degrees to 100 degrees, but it's boiling at the same time. Now, scientifically, that's the only way to deliver at 100 degrees, and that is our technology. That's the patent that we hold. So I know there's a lot of other kind of brands on the market, hot tap wise, but they will never, ever be able to deliver at 100 because of the patents that we hold over that technology.
I've actually been fortunate enough to try a few different taps and have them for a period of time in my house, which I've now obviously switched out for Quooker. But they were good. They were, the other taps I've had were pretty good. The first one was a cheaper brand, didn't last long, so I had problems with it. Got rid of it, put another brand in, which was it was a good tap, but I didn't realize how bad that was until I had a Quooker. So. And the temperature difference, and it really is. I mean, the other tap was a 98-degree tap. So they said, but the tank took it to 98 degrees. So the point that it came out of the tap was actually more like 80 degrees. So, and there is a big difference between the temperature, just making a cup of tea with the other tap I had and the Quooker. It's just, they're like chalk and cheese. It really is 100 degrees when it comes out. It's too hot to drink.
I mean, I had the same tap before, and what I found was, and you just do it naturally, but I'd always warm the cup up. So I'd put some of the hot water into the cup, let it warm a little bit, tip that away, and then make a coffee or a tea, and you just get used to it. But you can't do that with a Quooker tap; it's just too hot. You've got to leave it for 10 minutes.
That's it.
I mean, now we're straight into a cold cup, and it's perfect.
That's it. I think not only is it, fundamental purely for when you're kind of making a cup of tea or coffee, because you are noticing that difference. I know that, that kind of between 94 and 96, 98 and 100 degrees, you're only talking a couple of degrees on paper. But actually, that is fundamental for so many different reasons. Firstly, as you guys have both kind of said, even though it's kind of 2 degrees difference, 3 degrees difference, you genuinely notice it when you're making a cup of tea or coffee. But also, I think what is more fundamental about it is the fact that if you take a step back and you look at why anybody would want a boiling water tap, the main reason really is to get rid of the kettle. Now, your kettle boils water to 100 degrees. So would you go out and buy a nearly boiling kettle, a kettle that doesn't actually boil water? Or would you replace anything at home with something that doesn't do the job of the original appliance? You wouldn't. So I think what is fundamental is that if somebody ever tries to replace the kettle, with any other product than a cooker, it's not going to be a like-for-like replacement. So they're going to be compromising in one way or another. So that, I think, is the fundamental reason why that couple of degrees does make a difference. But on top of that, when you're looking at things, and one of the main uses of a cooker is, for cleaning. You're talking about sterilizing when, you're mopping the floor. Cooker tap, 100 degrees, you're going to be able to sterilize it. Sterilizing babies' bottles, for example. You are only ever going to be able to do that at the true 100 degrees boiling point. And I think the fact that we're the only ones that can deliver at 100 is obviously the USP, but that's what separates us from the rest of the market. But that is what is so important, is that customers really understand that difference and they're educated to the fact. I think the main thing for us, that the biggest priority is people are educated. Why does anybody need a boiling tap? But then why do people need a cooker rather than anything else on the market? And that's where obviously you guys come into it.
Yeah, I agree.
The fact that it is 100 degrees kind of leads us into our next question, which a lot of people ask. And that is, are boil taps dangerous? So obviously there is that danger element of it being 100 degrees, but how have Quooker tackled that?
So at Quooker, listen, we're dealing with 100 degrees water. You have to treat it with respect, for sure. There's 10,000 kettle-related injuries every single year to children alone, right? So we have to ensure that safety is fundamental. So that safety aspect has always been and will always be at the forefront of the design of the Quooker product. I think we always like to tackle these things head on. And if anybody has ever got that kind of preconception about a Quooker tap being dangerous, I can 100% guarantee it's because they've never seen one working or they've never used one. Because as soon as you use one, you realize how safe it is. There are so many features in the Quooker tap that ensure that it is the safest way of delivering boiling water. Just going back to kind of, comparing it to the kettle, as I say, 10,000 injuries every year to children alone because of kettles. Quooker, as I say, been going for 50 years worldwide, over 15, 16 years in the UK. We've installed internationally over 1 million Quookers worldwide. And to this day, we have an unblemished safety record. So if anybody thinks that it's dangerous or it's unsafe, it's because they've never experienced it. Just to kind of go into those safety features a little bit more detail. Obviously, this is where customers going into, Artisan to actually see the working taps is going to, be a benefit. But, you're talking about the double push and turn mechanism on the collar. You have to know how to use it. And then the actual operation is always a conscious effort that you want to dispense boiling water. So again, you're not going to do it by accident. Another big safety feature, the aerated flow. So we're actually injecting oxygen and air into the stream of boiling water to turn it into a fine spray. That sometimes gives, again, people that have never seen it or experienced it before, gives them the misconception that it's spitting or it's spluttering, but actually that air and oxygen in the stream forms a protective layer between the skin and the boiling water. So if, God forbid, somebody caught their hand underneath the stream of boiling water, because that oxygen is there, you've got enough time for your body to react, to pull it away. Yes, it will sting, it's 100 degrees, but that oxygen prevents any risk of serious damage, any risk of scalds or any risk of burns. There's a few other big safety features in the Quooker tap that obviously I would encourage anybody to go into the showroom and see it working. But as I say, we have to ensure that it's safe. So I understand why people who have never come across one before would think that it's dangerous. but go and experience it. Go and see it working, because then you will really appreciate how safe the product actually is.
We ask customers who've never seen it or tried it before. Sorry, guys, that's my phone. Never seen or tried it before, to try and get boiled water out. We just say, give it a go. See if you can get boiled water out of it. And it's the simplest of systems to get boiled water out, only when you know.
That's it. That's it.
It's
I think
once you do by accident.
That's it. You're never going to do it by accident. But once any customer, child, adult, grandparent struggles to get the boiling water out of the tap, that's when they start to realize, actually, okay, if I can't do it, how are the kids going to do it? So yeah, that's where, get into the showroom and go and see it working.
Yeah, absolutely. It does make a massive difference having a full working. We've got a couple of full working displays here, as you know. So it makes a big difference. The other thing, which is safety, really good for safety, is on the flex. So you've got the pull out. Everybody wants a pull out tap. So you've got the Quooker with a pull out, which is really well packed away inside. You wouldn't know unless you were shown it. And if you if you turn the boiling water on and pull the flex out, it completely cuts off. So you couldn't spray boiled water around as well. So it's
exactly
just added extra.
We've really thought of everything. I think, again, that, talking about USPs and what separates Quooker, I think the fact that we genuinely, from start to finish, and I'm talking all the way back to research and development through to the after sales and service team, everything is done by Quooker ourselves. So the fact that we manufacture everything, even the tiniest little parts of the product, allows us to think about these things. It allows us to get feedback, and it allows us to implement it. And talking about that and what else is on the market, there's no other company that does that. So again, that quality across the board allows us to stay ahead of the game and stay as the market leader.
So how efficient is a boil or a cooker tap particularly to run?
Well, this is the thing. I think people think that because it's on all day, it's always boiling in the tank, and therefore the energy cost is going to be ridiculous. But actually, again, this is where education comes into it, because when you look at how the tank actually works, it's really, really clever. So comparing it to the kettle, every single time you're boiling a kettle, on average, it's costing the customer between 10 and 15 pence. Every single time they're boiling that kettle, right? Now, with a Quooker, the tank, as I say, is pressurized. So it stores water at 110 degrees. But what that tank is basically a big thermos flask. So it's really, really well insulated. So once the water reaches 110 degrees inside that tank, that insulation maintains all of that heat inside, which therefore requires less energy and less cost to maintain it. So cost-wise, it is only going to cost you 3 pence per day to run a Quooker. So that's 3 pence per day against 10 to 15 pence on average every time you're boiling a kettle. So again, looking at the alternatives, it's the most economical system on the market. But again, it comes down to the technology. And that technology, again, as I say, is patented. So there's no other product on the market that will be able to deliver at 100, but also is going to be as efficient as the Quooker.
So is that 3 pence per day under just normal use?
Yes. Yeah. So it's 3 pence per day. Yeah.
Wow, that's really... really cheap.
Yeah, that's impressive. And how often, when you boil a kettle, do you end up boiling it 2 or even 3 times? Because you put it on to boil, you'll go away, the TV's on or something, you'll be chatting to somebody, you'll come back, and it will have boiled about 3 or 4 minutes ago. So you boil it again.
Exactly.
And sometimes even 3 times. Yeah.
And on top of that, not only are you boiling a kettle 2, maybe even sometimes 3 times for 1 cup of tea, does anybody ever fill 1 mug of water, pour that into the kettle just to heat up as much boiling water that you need for that cup of tea? You're going to fill the kettle up, obviously heating that water up unnecessarily. So it's going to cost more energy, take more time. And then the next time you go and use the kettle, whether you're doing a pot of pasta for dinner, for example, you're going to empty the kettle, wasting that water, and then refill it again. So actually, this is where people, I think, me having it at home, this is the point I was making, me having it at home and realizing actually the way that I was living before using a kettle compared to the Quooker, it made me realize how incredible the Quooker is. So yeah, I think, there's so many benefits. It's simply the convenience of boiling water straight from your tap instantly, not having to wait that 5-6 minutes for the kettle to boil. You're talking about the energy efficiency, cost efficiency, so much cheaper than the kettle, so it will pay itself off over time. You're talking about the water efficiency, the safety. It's like when you take a step back and look at the all of the advantages, why would anybody not have one?
Yeah,
and I think this is why you guys just put it in a standard. It's like the customers, you're having one, you need one. It is as simple as that.
We do tell customers, out of everything that you want to, if they want to pull the price of their kitchen down, we just say to them, look, out of everything you want to compromise on, don't let it be the boil tap, because it does change the way that you do everything in the kitchen. So filling up the pans, and even like you said, I've done everything from sterilizing babies' bottles with it to doing the cooking, mopping the floor, all of those things. I've used it for, and it's just instant. It's there, and you take it for granted. And if you go to somebody's house who has a kettle, it's just so funny, because you're like,
prehistoric.
The kettle to boil, and then they forget that it's boiled, and they wait, and just like, come on, get on with it. So all of those things. It does totally change the way you do things.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the most popular questions on anything online is how much it costs. How much is a cooker tap?
So, I mean, let's look at our most popular system, which is a Pro 3 tank, which is the residential tank. It's probably 90% of the tanks that we sell. And then the tap is the Flex. As we kind of said, the Flex, 75% of our sales. As standard, it will deliver hot, cold, and boiling, but also big USP of the Flex compared to anything else on the market. It's also got that flexible pull-out hose. Let's say you're talking the polished chrome finish, which is one of the most popular. They start at £1,150 retail, including that. There's obviously additional accessories that you can add on, which I'm sure we're going to delve into shortly anyway. But you're looking at kind of the rest of the market, and you're looking at what else is out there. You're looking at Quooker and the benefits that you're going to get of Quooker compared to the rest of the market. And actually, it's really, really sensitively priced. Everything is kind of in and around that £1,000 mark, £1,200 mark, let's say. So for the market leader, for 100 degrees, for the flexible pull-out hose, it's really, really sensitively priced.
It is a fantastic price for what you get. And me and Danny both been in the kitchen game a long time, and I know that sort of 10 years ago, when you first started seeing boiling taps, and they were £2,000-3,000 as an appliance in your kitchen, that was a hell of a lot of money. But 100%. The fact that they're one of the products where the price has been coming down, where the price of everything else has been going up, it's now a really affordable bit of kit to add to any.
Definitely. And for us as well, I think where we're at in the market, I think the formula that we've created around the whole business, around the product, it's taken us a lot of time to kind of curate it, but actually we want to maintain it. So we have genuinely never had a price increase since the day we came to the UK in 2005. I think if we started messing with the formula, it might, you start increasing the price every year by kind of 5, 6, 7%. Before you know it, you're at kind of 1,800 quid at an entry level boiling water tap. So I think for the market leader, for the price that we're at, on top of everything else, I mean, another huge USP of the product and the company generally is kind of the after sales and service team. So, we're investing millions of pounds in the service side of the business every single year, because as a business, we get really, really excited about being able to deliver the most incredible experience to the end user from start to finish, right? So you can have the best product in the world, but if you've got a shoddy service that goes with that, you're completely shooting yourself in the foot. It's completely counterintuitive, and we've appreciated that. We want people to not only buy the market leading product, but we also want them to buy into the Quooker brand and the Quooker family. We want them to feel a part of the Quooker family. Talking about the family, the two sons of the original inventor, Walter and Niels, still run Quooker internationally to this day. So we've still got that really strong family DNA. We want customers to feel a part of that. And for us, that after sales and service gives us a great opportunity for us to do that. I mean, at the moment, we have around 60 of our own in-house engineers based geographically throughout the UK. So it means that no matter where you are in the country, if you have a Quooker tap, you know that you will be able to get a Quooker expert. They're not subcontractors, they're not third parties, they're actually our Quooker experts you know that you're going to get looked after by one of our guys. You know you're going to get the best possible service. And that for us is equally as important as the product itself. And again, I think that's really, really rare in the whole industry, for sure.
Yeah.
As I say, we get really, as I'm sure you can tell, we get really, really excited about this kind of thing.
Yeah. It's,
we just we love the fact we give you a little question and let you go. You're off.
That's it. We're off.
So how long would a cooker tap last?
Genuinely, if you're staying on top of kind of maintenance, and when I say maintenance, I mean you guys are kind of based in South Wales, aren't you? The water's pretty soft.
Really good. Yeah.
You will literally have a cooker that lasts a lifetime. Now, when I talk about the after sales and service, let's say on average, we recommend a full system service every 3 to 5 years, right? That service, we can send one of our engineers, he'll turn up to the property, he'll open up the tank, clean everything out, change any parts that need changing, put it all back together for you. Once you've had that service, you've got a brand new system. So it will genuinely last for as long as you need it to. And that service,
I think there's pretty much only one moving part in a cooker tank, isn't
that's
there?
it.
The aerator.
That's it. That's it. I mean, that full system service by a cooker engineer is £160 ex VAT. You know, so you're talking 160 quid every 3 to 5 years to ensure you've got a brand new system afterwards. It's a no-brainer. Listen, you're going to have people who genuinely will never need to touch theirs. You know, as I say, mine up in Manchester, soft water, like you guys, we haven't touched it once, and it works as if it did on day one. But again, you know that if you ever need that service, you've got our guys there to support and help. Alternatively, and this is something that some customers have started to do, particularly over time in the support that we're giving to them, the Quooker product, the Quooker tank, is completely self-serviceable as well. So the customers can actually order a free of charge self-service kit from our Manchester office. That gives them the tools and instructions to do that service themselves. So actually everything we do is geared towards the end user. It is really, really easy.
Good to know.
That's interesting to know. We didn't know about the service kit. So
there you go.
I may order one just to take a look at it.
Yeah.
See how easy it is. Yeah. Put that on your list, Louis. We'll have one of those.
That's it.
Could just explain to us about how we've got this thing called a combi tap. So obviously I was one that struggled because when I turn my hot water on, it takes ages for it to get from the tank to my tap. So that's another problem that Quooker have solved with something called the combi tap. So just tell us how that works.
So the combi tank is a great solution to that exact problem. So let's say a customer has one of a few issues. Now those issues can either be there's either no hot feed present at all at the property. If they've got like low domestic hot water pressure, so obviously when you turn the cold on, it's high, and then you turn the hot on, it's like dribbles out. Or like you've got, Andy, you know, you turn on the hot water, you've got cold water coming out, and then it'll take a couple of minutes and wasting all that water for the hot water to actually come through.
Yeah.
So what our combi tank does is it basically acts as a combi boiler for the kitchen tap, right? So what it does is it stores inside of it 7 litres of boiling, which is obviously readily available when you want tea, coffee for cooking, etc. But then when you want the warm water, what the combi system does is it mixes boiling water from the tank in a mixing valve with incoming cold, and that gives the tap its warm water. So actually, when you've got the combi tank fitted, the feed from your household boiler is capped off, and our combi tank provides the tap with its boiling and the warm. So it's a really, really good solution if you have that problem. And I'm pretty sure it's the only solution on the market to that problem as well. So yet another USP of Quooker.
Yeah, it's a brilliant solution. It works really
well.
So we've talked a lot about the boiling side of things, but what else does a Quooker tap do?
So this is kind of where, for Quooker in the last 18 months, 2 years, it's been, for us, the most incredible experience. But we've recently introduced a new product called the Cube. And the Cube is an add-on accessory. You kind of build it into your existing cooker. It's kind of like Lego. You can compartmentalize. You don't have to go for the whole system in one go. You can have your boiling side of it and then add this cube at a later date. But what that cube does is it basically integrates chilled, still, and chilled sparkling into the tap. So you can now literally have a Quooker that does your domestic hot and cold. It can do your 100 degrees boiling that you're not going to get elsewhere. Chilled, still filtered, and chilled sparkling filtered, all from a single tap. And that tap can also, with the Flex, obviously have a flexible pull-out hose. It's the most incredible product. And I think for us, the Cube's only been, as I say, available for the last kind of 18 to 24 months. Before we had that, I think we were a bit naive as to the demand for chilled and sparkling water. But what we're really starting to appreciate is how much demand there is in the market for it. I think there's a few really, really big selling points of the Cube. Firstly, just that convenience of having chilled and sparkling water on tap is absolutely insane. You know, to think that you can have a Quooker tap, that any kitchen tap that does all of those things is just ridiculous. You then also kind of got the sustainability aspect. You know, with the Cube, chilled and sparkling water from tap, that's plastic bottles, single-use plastics that you're getting rid of. You know, we're obviously in a climate crisis now worldwide. We have to ensure the way that we live, you know, we're changing that. And the Cube allows customers to really become a lot more eco-friendly, get rid of those single-use plastics. You know, the CO2 canister, for example, you know, if I'm not sure if you can kind of see, but you're talking about that big, you know, really, really compact. And from one canister, you're getting approximately 60 litres of sparkling water. That's 60-litre plastic bottles that you now don't need to buy, now don't need to store, and obviously you don't need to recycle. So as I say, it's the most incredibly sustainable product. Finally, and I'm sure this is a bugbear for a lot of people in the industry, is, you know, American fridge freezers. You know, a lot of companies are discontinuing it. They're really big products, you know, sometimes quite ugly and inefficient. But actually, when you speak to a customer, you say, why would you want an American fridge freezer? Well, really, it's for the water dispenser that you get in the door. So actually, to give the customer that chilled water from the Quooker, it allows you to kind of get rid of the American fridge freezer. You know, you guys being designers and, you know, the projects that you guys work on are absolutely stunning. You want the kitchen to look sleek and give the aesthetic that, you know, the customer's after. And sometimes an American fridge freezer can take away from that. So get rid of the fridge freezer, keep the function, add a Cube. Yeah. And as I said, that will allow you to have the tap that does it all. It's the most insane product.
And we can do an integrated freezer now with an ice cube dispenser inside the freezer. So it's it covers all bases there, and we no longer need to have those huge lumps of a fridge.
Have Quooker got any plans to add a beer dispenser to the kitchen tap? Just asking for a friend.
It's funny you say that, because we get told as account managers that on the last Friday of every quarter, they add a beer keg onto a Quooker tap. And we've been told, and again, I don't know if this is true, that when you do the function, you get a green light on the tap. So listen, who knows? You can tell your friends to watch.
Make sure we're the first showroom to get that on display. Okay?
Yeah, we definitely will be we're quite happy to test the prototypes.
Yeah. That's it. No, you're top of the list, mate. Top of the list.
So yeah, that's pretty much wrapped it all up in a nutshell, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's all the main questions everyone's asking. I think we've covered all those.
Yeah, and of course, there's the we've got different color options as well for the taps. So
yeah, it's funny you say that. I think again, as kind of trends are progressing, we're seeing a lot of different, you know, metals in kitchens, whether it's on handles or rails or light fixtures and fittings and that kind of thing. And obviously people want an aesthetic, they want everything to match. So yeah, we've introduced a matte black finish, which has been incredibly popular for us. We've added a patinated brass, which is available on the Fusion and the Classic Fusion. You know, on the Fusion, if you're going for a modern kitchen, that patinated brass gives a really nice industrial finish to the tap and to the whole feel of the kitchen. And on the Classic Fusion, obviously you get better suited to like an in-frame style, shaker style. It allows you to fit in with that aesthetic. And we've also got a gold tap as well, and genuinely 24 karat gold plated. We're seeing a lot of like urban brass handles, matte gold handles. And again, it just fits really well. So not only is the Quooker now a functional product, it's also got the aesthetic to it as well. You know, you're getting form and function. So we've got an option for everybody. You know, doesn't matter what your functions, doesn't matter what your preference is, your color, your shape, your style, your finish, whatever you want, you've got an option at Quooker.
Yeah. But it really looks great. All of the finishes look great. So
good.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a decision we haven't regretted, changing all our boil taps for Cooker. So yeah, onwards and upwards, and looking forward to coming back into the showroom. I think it's probably changed since you were in here last.
I know it's yeah, I know. Well, you guys are putting quite a lot of new displays, haven't you? So really excited to obviously. Well, it's exciting to be able to get into showrooms. Period.
Yeah.
Obviously, going into a new showroom and seeing new displays is always really exciting. So yeah, I'll be in touch to book something in.
Okay, great.
Well, that's fantastic, and thanks for joining us on episode 3. We've got episode 4 actually lined up already, so we're talking to Louise from Electrolux, or AG, which we deal a lot with. So that'll be all about kitchen appliances, I guess. We'll have a good chat with Louise, but yeah, that's it for episode 3. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Danny. And,
cheers, Louis.
We will. Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me.
It's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
We've got the 2 Ronnies down. Well, yeah. It's goodbye from him, isn't it?
See you later, guys.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see you next week. Thank you, guys.
Amazing.
Bye.
Yeah.